Hello, my students in grade 7. I hope you are all doing good. During week 4, last week, in mathematics, we continued in our lesson. We were solving exercises in our lesson, which was talking about prime numbers. After knowing what are prime numbers, the numbers that are divisible by 1 and themselves, then we learned how to do prime factorization for composite numbers. Composite numbers are the numbers that has more than two divisors. So these numbers, we do for them prime factorization to write them as a product of prime factors. Also, after learning the prime factorization, we learned if we have two numbers, how can we find the LCM and the GCD of these two numbers? So this was what we did today. During the last week. Today, on Friday, we had a long quiz. We did a long quiz in the lesson prime numbers. And after we finished, during 2 days, on Wednesday and on Thursday, I started something new with your friends, which is the geometry essentials. This is not a new lesson. In this lesson, we will be revising some of the geometry that you took in grade 6. In grade 6, you studied with your teacher geometry essentials. And in this lecture, it's not a long lecture. We are going to revise these geometry things. What are we going to revise in this lecture is I will revise with you again what do we mean by a straight line. In mathematics, a straight line has no starting or ending point. A straight line can be drawn vertical, it can be drawn horizontal, and it can be drawn in an oblique way. Since it has no starting or ending point, it can be elongated from both sides. So if I needed to elongate this straight line to make it longer, I can elongate it using a long ruler. I here gave you two examples about the straight line. I have straight line AB, so I write AB between parentheses. These parentheses tell me that we have a straight line AB. I can call also the straight line L, so I write L between parentheses and I write this is line L. Then we have seen the semiline or the ray. The semiline, as you can see, it has a starting point, but it doesn't have an ending point. This semi-ray, I can elongate it from where I have B. It cannot be elongated from A. It can be elongated from the side of B. And to write that we have a semiline AB, I use a bracket closed on A. It cannot be elongated from A. I can elongate it from B, so I use a parenthesis from B. Then we talked about the segment. The segment has a starting point and it also has an ending point. That's why whenever you are asked to draw a segment, I give you the length of the segment. So every segment has a length. So as you can see, we have segment AB. It is closed from A and it is closed from B. Every segment, I can find its midpoint. What do I mean by the midpoint? It is a point in the middle of the segment. How can I find this point? I measure the segment. Suppose I use the long ruler and I measured this segment. This segment, for example, is 6 centimeter. So to find the midpoint of segment AB, I divide 6 by 2. So I bring my long ruler. If I divide 6 by 2, it is a 3 centimeter. So I write an X here. Suppose I call the midpoint of this segment is M. So M is the midpoint of segment AB. To write segment AB, we always write it between brackets because it is closed from A and it is closed from B. So M is the midpoint of segment AB. That means AM is equal to 3 centimeter and MB is equal to 3 centimeter. To show that M is the midpoint of AB, we should mark our straight line or our segment. So I make these two dashes to say that AM is equal to the length of AB. So this is to the length of MB. This is the midpoint of a segment. I will continue. Then we started talking about positions of two lines. How can two lines be with respect to each others? Two lines can be parallel lines. What do we mean by parallel lines? Two lines that never intersect or never meet or never cut. They can be parallel horizontally, they can be parallel oblique, or they can be parallel vertically. Then we talked about intersecting or concurrent lines. These lines intersect or meet at a point. Suppose I have line AB, it intersects with line CD in point O. So it is called the point of intersection. Number 3, we talked about perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are the lines that intersect or meet at a point, but they form between them a right angle which is equal to 90 degrees. So suppose this line is called L, this line is called D, so I will say D is perpendicular to L. And always don't forget to draw a perpendicular line to another line. We use the set square. These were what we finished during the last 2 days, as I said, on Wednesday and on Thursday, because on Friday we had a long quiz, so we couldn't finish too much. Please watch these well, memorize the definitions because these are very important. Thank you.